We waiting on a while?
I'm just getting everything set up now. Just making sure it's all up and running. Who's all here?
Oh, wait. No, I don't want to do that. Terrible. Why does that look so bad? Does it look bad to you? The background? That looks terrible. What happened?
What looks wrong with it?
Doesn't it just look blurry? Does it not look blurry to you?
I mean, not to me, or at least not really. My screen's kind of small though. Maybe maybe if my screen was bigger, it would.
So that's like, do I look like extra sharp? Oh, let's see. Let's go with... That's much better.
Oh yeah, it looks good. All right. All right, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. And here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Griffcast episode a lot. Welcome to the Mature Nerd Podcast for Mature People, where we talk about any and all things nerd, video games, comic books, movies, computer technology, and/or science. I'm your host, King Neckbeard Griffmore. Welcome to the show. I don't know where Wild is. Hopefully, he'll be joining us soon. But we're just going to keep going anyway.
138. At least that's what you put down.
Is it 138? All right.
Yeah.
You know, I think for like the last... Oh, hell. That is not what I'm trying to do.
Oops.
Oh, darn. I fixed it. All right.
Rip.
I think for like the last year and a half, we've been on the wrong number. I think I double posted an episode. That may have happened. But I'm not going back. I'm not going back to fix it now.
I'm sure you have a very dedicated fan that's like, no, it's episode 139. We got it wrong again.
Oh, maybe one day. Just have somebody in the chat. Just. Oh.
What was I doing?
I don't know.
I was doing.
Are you sure?
Nope.
Cool.
No, not sure at all. I figured it out though. I did.
Good deal. Yeah. Oh. So I don't know what y'all been into this last week or so, but I've been playing Magic and fixing decks. Mostly fixing decks.
Like magic decks or
Yeah.
like decks? Like, damn, he's got a big ass deck out back, back of his house.
No, nobody will ever say that about me.
Well, man, if you trim your bushes, you might have a pretty big deck.
Yeah, it's pretty barren in that area.
Okay.
Oh,
Are these physical cards that you're putting together, or okay?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like the digital game.
No. I much prefer the physical cards.
Well, I mean, the physical cards actually have real world value as opposed to, the digital game only having the value that it has there.
But the one thing I will say is on the digital game, that the digital game does better than any person could teach you is priority and how things work in the turn and when is the right time to do things.
Back in the day on the 360, when they came out with a couple of those games, that was literally how I learned how to play the game. And I had a bunch of friends that also played the game, the physical card game. And then I learned how to play it like that, and I was like, well, I mean, I couldn't have imagined learning to play it a different way because it's such a complex game.
It really is. I mean, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. In the Guinness Book of World Records as the most complicated card game in existence.
I saw something about that recently, and I was like, well, I believe it.
Are you sure it's not Exploding Kittens?
100%.
Exploding Kittens was pretty tough for me to learn the first time.
Yeah, but were you sober?
No.
It's like, well.
Oh, like everything's difficult when you're not sober. Hi. What you doing?
Nothing. I think I need to show you my hair.
Yeah. You have to show me when you get it all washed out. She's dyeing her hair
It's done.
Ooh, what colors are we going with?
Wash it out.
blue.
Good choice.
But
Is she gonna try to pull off like a Ramona Flowers type of situation?
no.
Color every week and a half, 10 days?
I don't know. I hope not. She's a bit young for that.
You should encourage such things.
Encourage it so she doesn't want to do it later. Oh, but overall, I mean, that's mainly what I've been doing. Just trying to update decks, and they got that new bracket system out for how to rank your commander decks, and I'm just like, I am really not enjoying this because people could take advantage of it way too easily. Because I have the new bracket system is a 1 through 5 system. The old power level system was 1 through 10. 1 was you have a stack of cards that functions and they are within the rules. 10 was competitive. Like, these are the decks you take for like world tours and stuff like that. But that's a whole different ballgame. I prefer to play in like the 7 to 9 range on power levels. But the new bracket system is 1 through 5. 1 is you have a stack of cards. 5 is competitive. And my decks that were 7, 8s, and 9s are now considered 2s because of how they, bracket things. I'm like, I have decks that are bracket 2 that can hang with bracket 5. There's something wrong in this system.
I think the way of trying to determine the system is not like, I mean, I think it's kind of like in beta right now is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an idea that they're playing around with, but it's not like 100% official. And when I was thinking about it just with the cards that I own, I'm like, I don't really understand, because I mean, that game has literally thousands upon thousands of different cards that have existed over the course of time, and they're still making more cards as every year goes by, just adding more complexity to the whole idea of like putting this in some sort of bracket system.
I think there are somewhere between like 15 and 30,000 different cards.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I don't know how many it is, but it's way too many to keep up with. And I mean, the people that have actually made this game, I don't even see how the hell they keep up with it. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's why things slip through the cracks. And this is why it's really difficult to pin down how to determine what quote unquote power level somebody's deck is. Because me and my friends have like not necessarily had discussions like this, but we've certainly had issues where one person is playing with something that is clearly very high level compared to what a lot of other people are playing with, and it's just
that really comes down to the expectations and the pregame talk of like, hey, this is what I'm bringing. Is this going to be a problem?
Yeah, and usually that is typically how games will be played out. I mean, it'll usually be a pregame discussion where it's like, all right, this is what I'm using. What are you going to do to counter it? And then that's kind of how that goes. And I'm sure it's like that for most people's play groups, but I still feel like trying to categorize this in some sort of bracket system, whether it's 1 through 5 or 1 through 10, I feel like it's just too difficult to really pin it down unless we're really specifying specifically how much we have of certain types of cards that do certain things that really just control the whole field in some sort of way.
While the old power ranking system wasn't perfect, it was a lot more intuitive than their new 1 through 5 bracket system, because it took into account on what turn you could win on.
Right.
Like if you can win by turn 4, you're in this bracket. Doesn't matter what cards are in your deck. If it takes you like 7 to 10, you're going to be in this bracket. If you're running a precon, you're going to be in this bracket. An upgraded precon in this bracket or in this tier. Now it's
what if you're running a deck that's got like a super heavy defense and that's prolonging your ability to play the game longer or something like that? Then I mean, I feel like this could make it complicated to determine.
So in that aspect, it's most decks that have like a turn 4 or 5 win don't use combat.
Okay.
And they will just drain your life or mill you out or something like that. And it typically goes pretty quick. Like most of my decks, I play something called mid-range, which is a combination of, I do like combination of aggro, which is hyper aggressive, heavy big creatures, that kind of stuff. Or if that plan doesn't work out, I always have a backup combo where I don't need to attack you to win.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
And some of my most powerful decks, I will never turn a creature sideways to attack.
Okay.
Like I have a Nekuzar deck, which is borderline. It's just a little bit of consistency away from being a competitive edge deck. And it's not there, and I don't want it to push there. But I like where it's at. It's the deck I bring out where everybody goes, oh, hell. And they have to bring out their equivalent decks as well.
Right.
Actually, I have a couple of decks like that, but it's neither here nor there. And then, of course, I have decks that I play just because they're fun to play.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have those.
Yeah. Like I have a worm tribal deck, which is all about summoning magic worms.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Nothing fancy or anything like that. Just, classic mono green, mana rampant big things. That's all it is.
Honestly, worms are ridiculously high-powered creatures, so I mean, I could see making a deck out of that.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near the top of the food chain when it comes to tribal decks. Like they're not dragons, they're not slivers, they're not goblins
or soldiers or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like you can make a soldier deck that'll outperform any worm deck.
But, just because it's cheaper to play out, you can build up an army faster.
Yeah. Whereas in this deck, I got to get the mana before I can do anything. But let's jump into today's topics. Not a lot going to wow, I speak English, I promise. Not a lot happened this week or these last couple of weeks, so we're just going to hit some of the high notes. So apparently Star Wars Theory, the YouTuber, is being blacklisted from conventions. I don't know if you guys are aware of who Star Wars Theory is. He has been making Star Wars lore videos for probably since the early days of YouTube. And because he spoke out and said that the new Star Wars stuff sucks, he has been nonstop attacked by, the vocal minority Twitter group. Even though they're claiming he said or have done things that are blatantly not true, he's even challenged them, people with money. Like earlier today, I watched him do a video where he's like, listen, you're claiming this, but here's $20,000. I'll put on the line. If you could find where I said anything resembling that, I'll send you a check for $20,000.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Almost quite literally.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's being banned from conventions because tens of people will say, hey, I don't like this individual because, he doesn't have the same opinions as I do, even though this guy by himself will sell out tickets. The last convention he went to, he had a 4-hour line in his meet and greet. The only reason I'm even bringing up another YouTuber like this is mainly because of his popularity. He is popular enough on YouTube where he has had actors within Star Wars call him a piece of crap. We're late enough in, right? We're a couple minutes in. Yeah. We have actors within Star Wars that have called him a piece of shit for simply having opinions that differ from them. Up to and including Mark Hamill himself.
Damn. The Hamill said that?
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Mark Hamill's gotten a bit crazy over the last few years.
Well, I suppose it happens.
Earth.
Never meet your heroes.
You got Mark Hamill?
I do not. And I do not wish to.
Okay.
And I say that with, a Star Wars poster over here and Darth Vader on my arm and Stormtroopers above my head, and I got an Imperial, so I got like a Stormtrooper here, and over here in the darkness I've got an Imperial pilot. Yeah. And then up there is a bust of Vader, but you can't see it because it's solid black against a black wall.
But sometimes you just got to separate the art from the actor.
You do. You really do. And for the first, 30 years of my life, Star Wars was awesome. Hell, I'm wearing a friggin' Star Wars shirt right now. Like,
Nice.
I
We know you care. We know you care about the franchise, and you haven't appreciated the way they've taken it in recent years, and I understand.
Then again, I'm also the old guy on my porch yelling, "Get off my lawn!" But
Yeah, we're all that guy in some form.
I get there, man. Just
I just really wish companies would stop letting a small group of really loud people dictate how they handle their business.
yeah.
It'd be nice.
Regardless of political opinion or anything like that, just you're talking about tens of people versus, the tens of thousands that have jobs and money.
Oh, now you're making assumptions that, these 10 people don't have jobs? They don't have money?
Yes.
I'll allow it.
I mean, if you have enough time to sit on Twitter and complain about something.
You don't know. They might be working from home. They might have an office job where, working service tickets on this side and then Twitter open on this side and just... Have you tried restarting it? Well, this fucking guy over here, he said this thing, Are you sure it's plugged in? And, I really just don't think that, he's a nice person because he said mean things that, I'll elevate that to the next professional. Just...
Sounds like a man with experience. So in bigger news, apparently Amazon now has creative control of 007.
Yeah. Oh man, I grew up watching Bond movies for the longest time. I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. I'm pretty sure I've seen them all at some point. Even the ones, that were made before my time. My entire family's huge on Bond movies. We all love watching Bond. I forget what holiday was it. Is it Father's Day? Someone used to have like a Bond marathon like over the weekend for a holiday. I want to say it was Father's Day.
Oh, was it something like FX or something like that?
I think it was Epix. It used to be Epix.
Yeah, whoever sided with MGM.
Yeah, because MGM, I think MGM created Epix. And then
I was never the biggest fan of Bond, and I don't know how I feel about this because Amazon has not shown that they're able to take over franchises that well, but they're great at starting new ones.
No, so all right. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay if you kind of look at other projects that have been kind of within the same genre. With what they've done with like Jack Reacher, they have Reacher. They have what they did with Tom Clancy and his. It's another Jack too, man. Jack something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It stars what's his face from The Office.
Yeah, God, what is the name of that fucking show? Why can I not think of it right now? Why is my brain so dumb?
Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts now too. Because it did have its own video game franchise too.
He didn't have a video game franchise.
No, you're right. I was thinking of something else.
I mean, there's been plenty of Tom Clancy, like Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
They did have a Rainbow Six movie, or it's a precursor to Rainbow Six movie. Oh, what was that? With Michael B. Jordan too. That was good. I think Amazon has done
Splinter Cell.
No, Splinter Cell was a Tom Clancy video game.
Yes, Tom Clancy video game, but they were working on a franchise. Jack Ryan, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was a Jack R too, man. God. But yeah, with Jack Ryan, they did a great job with that, and I think it's kind of along the same means. I'm curious whether they're going to keep it a movie series or like movies, or turn it into a series. If they now have like full creative control, what are they going to do? Are they going to keep it movies, or are they going to turn it into a TV series, which could go very into the depth? Oh,
depends if they're going to do theatrical releases or not.
Yeah, dude, I swear, I'm saying it right now. I should get some money for this. I definitely should get some money for this for saying it. I'm glad we have it all like on record right now. They have a good opportunity to do some crazy shit with Bond, because there's always been a theory, because like how they have Bond over the years, and like they've had like some of the same actors, like that the old guy that played Q. He was he survived several Bonds. I forget the name of him, but he was like with Pierce Brosnan. He's with and I already forget. I guess my Bond knowledge is not that great. But there's that theory that 007 is obviously a code name, but also James Bond is a code name as well, and that no one is ever born James Bond or whatever. They just take over the title of James Bond as it goes. So it's just a code name, and that's why there's been so many different actors, whatever. So I think they have an opportunity if they do turn it into a TV series and they have it last a long time. They could do the same thing like they've done with like Doctor Who, right? Yeah. There's always a new Doctor, and now they could just have like a new Bond. Like every season, every 2 seasons, they'll have a new Bond, right?
Yeah.
That could be an opportunity. I hope they keep it movies though. I want them to keep it movies.
I think right for the best.
Yeah.
Because I think Bond is one of those things you need to take in short windows.
Mm-hmm. If you get too much Bond, it would just...
it would stagnate.
Yeah, it would stagnate very quick. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they do. At the same time, I am worried, but at the same time, like I've never been the biggest Bond fan, so I can't really form my own opinion on the whole subject matter. I'll leave it to people who are fans of Bond to do that.
I'm a big fan of Bond. You know, I think I grew up on Brosnan. You know, but also went back and watched other Bonds as well. You know, I was a huge fan of Casino Royale. Casino Royale was a dope movie. I thought the movie was really good. Skyfall was good too. Long. Skyfall was long.
Yeah, I always thought it was hilarious how
We don't talk about Quantum of Solace.
in the contract to play Bond, you can never wear a tux in another movie. If you become Bond, you cannot wear a tux in another movie.
Ever?
Ever.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Oh. Connery.
Yeah,
that was the OG Bond. Sean Connery.
Yeah, was he the OG Bond? Yeah. And then there was
That's the oldest I know of. Because it went Connery, then someone else, then Brosnan. And Pierce was Bond for a long time.
He only did 3 movies. He had... Or did he have 4? He had GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies. Fuck. I'm all lost. 2 Bond movies instead. Dr. No, Commercial with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball. He Only Lived Twice. On Her Majesty's? Was this the one that was like not the Bond movie? I don't remember that one at all. Did I watch that one? Fuck it. Great.
I'd like to see them go back and modernize and bring up to, well, not modernize. I think it's a horrible terminology these days, but bring up to date, like the Bourne Ultimatums.
Do they own Bourne? Who owns Bourne right now? Who owns Bourne?
Is it Paramount?
Damn it, who owns Bourne?
Because didn't Damon and weren't they all partners with Paramount?
I think they were with Paramount. That sounds right. Yeah. So yeah, you had Sean Connery, Roger Moore. Yeah, fucking Roger Moore, dude. He was a good Bond. He was in a fucking ton of Bond. Timothy Dalton. Yeah, I remember Timothy Dalton. He was a good Bond too. I like Timothy Dalton. Yeah. Yeah, George Lazenby. I don't remember. I don't know who the fuck that is. And he was the one that was on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I don't know that fucking movie. I guess I didn't watch that one. And then Diamonds Are Forever. That's when they replaced Sean Connery, I guess, with George. And then Sean Connery was like, "Fuck it, I'm making Diamonds Are Forever." Just like, I think Diamonds Are Forever is like the unofficial Bond movie.
It's Universal. Oh, wow.
Does Paramount not own Universal? I guess no, they don't. Ooh. Yeah, GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and then Die Another Day. Yeah, so he did do 4. Pierce Brosnan did do 4.
I didn't realize there was 4 Bourne movies.
Yeah, because Matt Damon... No, there should be 5.
Is there 5?
There's 5. There's 4 with Matt Damon, because he had the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne Ultimatum. Then after the Bourne Ultimatum, I think Matt Damon Matt Damon was kind of like, aren't we done? I'm not doing this. So then they got Jeremy Renner, and he did the Bourne something. He did the Bourne something. But it was like a spinoff of Bourne. He was like he was like in the same program, but he wasn't Jason Bourne. I forgot which one that was. And then they had just Bourne, where they brought Matt Damon back. Bourne was good, but it wasn't necessary. After the Bourne Ultimatum, I was like, dude, let him rest. I guess they wanted to continue to make money or something. Whatever.
Yeah, I see now. Yeah,
All about that money.
It's always about that money, man.
Yeah. And then have you guys seen the show for The Equalizer, where they replaced what's his name with Queen Latifah.
Did they like replace? I mean,
I don't know if it was a different character. I'm pretty sure it was a different character, but
I imagine it's a different character. No, I didn't watch it. I'm not sure if I heard good things or bad things. I don't think I heard too much about it. I knew it existed, but it was like in the mid-range.
It was not bad. I'll leave it there. It was not bad. So it was rumored for years, but apparently it's been kind of, I think they're in the process of signing contracts now, but Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Carl Urban, yes. As Johnny Cage, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I wasn't. I mean, I played my fair share of Mortal Kombats. You know, I was into them. I guess my Mortal Kombat knowledge isn't. I wouldn't even say it's, you know, subpar. It's not great. Do I know who Johnny Cage is? Yeah. Where does he originate from? Is he American or is he?
Yeah, he's an American kung fu actor.
Yeah.
Johnny Cage was made to be like a knockoff of like Van Damme.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. You can't tell me that Carl Urban doesn't have the look though.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is I don't think he has the look for it.
I think he has the look. He's got to lose the beard though. And
maybe about 20 years.
After the boys, I don't think I can like imagine Carl Urban without the beard, man. He's got to keep that beard for the rest of time. It's iconic now.
Like,
belongs in a museum.
I don't know. He has done some great things, and a lot of times you don't even realize it's him.
Dude, people call Henry Cavill king of the nerds. I don't know. I think Carl Urban is the king of the nerds. That dude has had so many nerd projects. Dude's been just.
It's hard to deny it. Like, I mean, he was the leader of the writers of Rohan in Lord of the Rings. He was, he did Dredd. He The Boys.
Black. The Boys. He's had some good projects, man. He's done some good things for the nerd community. I think Carl Urban is king of nerds. He
was in Love and Thunder. Like, anything has to do with Thor, he's in now. Oh, what was it? He was in the Riddick series.
Yep.
Like, between him and Vin Diesel, surprisingly enough, Vin Diesel is a mega nerd.
I will allow it. That dude goes wild for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, he does go wild for Dungeons and Dragons.
He actually did a couple of failing movies just because he enjoyed the story and what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Was that
it kind of makes sense that that's what he's into, because those Fast and Furious movies are basically makeshift superhero films anyway, with the way that they do the most recent ones.
Dude, Carl Urban's got range, man. Carl Urban's got range. He's been in a lot of crazy stuff. Dude, that's right. So he's got Lord of the Rings. He's got the Riddick. He was in Born Supremacy. He was the other antagonist in Born Supremacy. Doom. Pathfinder. Was that the remake of like the? No, I'm thinking of Outlander. I don't know what Pathfinder is. He was in Star Trek. Dude, he had Star Trek. He had Red, Priest, Dredd, Star Trek again.
I forgot about Priest.
Yeah. Then we got Thor. And
with that,
Xena the Warrior Princess. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about that. I honestly think he's too old to play Johnny Cash, especially in the cinematic universe where they're starting over. I think he's just a little too old to be playing Johnny Cash. I know there's cinema magic and all that, but still. You can only hide age so much.
He's 52. I don't know. How old is Johnny Cage supposed to be? 30s?
20s?
40s? You said 20s?
Yeah.
Oh.
When he joins the tournament, he's like in his mid-20s the first time. But, I mean, I wouldn't pass up that opportunity. All right, so.
And who would you cast, though, if you had your choice? Because Sobs, you were huge into Mortal Kombat, right? I feel like...
I wouldn't say I was huge into it, but I mean, I was definitely a fan. I like the movies and quite a few of the games when I was growing up.
So if you all had to pick, who would your...
Oh, that's a tough choice.
Can't really think of anyone in particular that I would say would need to play that role. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with a lot of
What's his name?
current actors.
What's his name? Something Glenn that was in Twisters. Dude, he'd probably be a fucking perfect Johnny Cage right now.
Oh, the new Twisters?
Yeah, what's his name? Something Glenn.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I'm familiar. I know who you're talking about. I mean, he would at least look the part, I guess.
Is his name? Oh, Glenn Powell. I thought Glenn was his last name. No, that's his first name. That's why I couldn't think of it. Yeah. Glenn Powell. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. He was the dude in the stock market that got his face beaten by Bane.
Okay, actually, I have a couple for you. I didn't think about some of these, but yeah, I have a couple for you. Alexander Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård.
He wouldn't be a bad one. Chris Evans could do it.
Chris Evans, and you're saying Carl Urban's too old, and Chris Evans
could do the look a lot better, I think.
I'm not calling Chris Evans old, but he's
he's old.
He's up there. Is he 40? 40 now? 45?
I don't know.
It's close enough. I think so. I don't know. I'm going with Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell. I think that's like, dude. If you just give him the aviators, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's right there. It's right there. I'm looking straight at it. I'm sure there's some fan art of him.
You know what? This would be one that I give to Liam Hemsworth.
Oh, dude, they do have it, man. Oh, it's right there. That's perfect. They do have some fan art of him as Johnny Cage. It's gorgeous. It's perfect.
Liam?
No, Glenn Powell.
Oh. I can get behind
to Liam. Oh, I could see Liam do it. Yeah, I can see Liam. That's not terrible.
Like, I could do that. All right, so the next one was kind of a shock to the global market. So NetEase started cutting ties to all of their westernized branches. Started with the big one that threw everybody off was they laid off the entire American branch for Marvel Rivals. And for those who don't know, NetEase is a giant Chinese conglomerate that owns either most, if not shares of most video game companies.
You're good. I'll be back. Yep.
But yeah, they're claiming like they're cutting ties because all they are money sinks. Everybody that they have to deal with in those branches are lazy and entitled.
Right.
Which, it's kind of hard not to see that with how things have been going the last couple of years with some of these companies. Like, they are more akin to saying, hey, you better like this game or don't bother buying it. And so people don't buy it, and then they hemorrhage money, and they're like, people don't like our game because X, Y, or Z. It is what it is. I don't blame them. Like, when you start dropping bangers nonstop, back to back, like Marvel Rivals and Black Myth Wukong, it's kind of hard not to look at some of your partners and be like, why aren't you pulling your weight?
Yeah,
Okay.
when we go a really long time without having some good stuff, and then you get something good after a while, it does make you look at everyone else and say, "Hold on now, why can't you do what they did?"
Yeah.
You know.
All I hear is that. Is I just see fucking Jeff Bridges yelling at that dude, Tony Stark, built this in a cave with a bunch of scrap.
That's kind of it, yeah. Because a lot of these other companies are technically making better games with like a lower budget and not even as many resources. And somehow they're doing it better. So,
Well, I mean, slave labor is a massive resource.
well, true. But this is not necessarily true in every single case, but in some, yes, absolutely.
Is it that, like, I guess smaller companies they're just able to put like more of a personal touch behind it?
That's definitely one part of it, I think, yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily smaller companies. I think it's companies that take making money seriously, put more heart and effort into it than companies who are like, you will buy this game because it has this name on it.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if you could say they take making money seriously. I mean, sure, they want to make money, but I feel like they might prioritize, let's deliver a good product, something that, that we want to do, something that we want to, put our feeling into, like I said, give a personal touch to it.
And that's why most smaller indie devs have been blowing out the AAAs over the last couple of years, is because it's all heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yeah. And we as the consumers and the customers, we can see that heart that they put into it. So it's like, it just makes us want to buy into it that much more sometimes.
Keep seeing all these stories of like, yeah, we did this with a shoestring budget and 3 people. It's like, you did that with no money and 3 people, and they couldn't even make something half as good with 100 people and unlimited resources.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all about to be reset. Everything that we're mentioning in this conversation is about to be reset. It's all about to be reset because as soon as GTA 6 drops, everyone's like, all right, let's just fucking just throw money at it. Just throw money at
you're
it.
talking about the exception, not the rule.
That's true.
It's a
big
GTA
exception.
Is definitely the exception.
It's a big exception. And I'm going to laugh my figurative ass off if GTA 6 bombs and everybody goes back to GTA 5.
There's no way that's going to fucking happen. There's no way that's going to fucking happen. I think
it would be hilarious.
It would be funny. There's no way that, Take-Two, Rockstar, I'm sure they're on their P's and Q's. They know that, I'm sure the game will have bugs. The game will definitely have bugs, but, they're going to make sure it's going to be a fucking experience. It's definitely going to be an upgrade. Not just visually, not just, what you could do, how much you could do. But,
it's been, almost 2 full game console cycles since we've gotten a new GTA. They have to do it right. Has it really been 3? Jeez,
it hasn't been 3 full ones. It came out at the end of the PS3, so
yeah. Technically, I guess
there was 6 months left on the PS3 when it came out. It launched on the PS3, and then it did take a full year for them to bring it to the PS4.
Yeah,
and then now it's on the PS5.
And not to mention, when they released the GTA Trilogy Collection, when that came out, like what, 2 years ago, that was a disaster. So I mean, they have to make up for that too. Even though that might not have been like the company directly involved in the making of that game, it's still Rockstar. It still has their name attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing with that. Go ahead.
You go. I think you're going to say the same exact thing I'm going to say.
I was going to say it's same thing with Borderlands and was it Gearsoft? Yeah. Like they're working on Borderlands 4 right now, and they've announced it and they're getting a release date. And the last two games in my mind were horrible compared to the first two.
They still made 3, right? But they didn't do Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
They did.
Oh, okay.
And sorry, I'm getting. So 3 was a disaster. 3 had the best gameplay out of all of it. Mm-hmm. But storyline wise, it was the worst because they removed the player from being the hero. There was 2 characters that were the hero of 3, and they were never there when the fan was hitting the shit. They'd always show up last second and take the credit.
I just see shit just being there and someone throwing a fan at it.
But yeah, they show up at the last second and take the credit for the full thing. I'd be like, look, I did a thing. And it'd be like, yeah, good for you.
That's aggravating.
Whereas the first 2 games were, you're the man. Thanks for doing that. You did a great job. It was all about you, the player. And then it became not about the player. And then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands had the best character builders and the best class ideas, but it was very preachy. And by the end of the whole thing, like when you beat the story, you realized it was all for nothing.
Something like it could have been handled in an email, huh?
Yeah.
That's...
It is what it is. But like they have a lot to make up. They have a lot to make up, especially with them keeping Randy Pitchford in power and in control. And those of you who don't know, Randy Pitchford is in a lot of trouble. Or has been in a lot of trouble. Let's just say he had a USB drive that he kept in his office that was full of stuff.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well,
so, and it's funny too. It's just ever since that whole thing came to light, every time that they had to do a reveal panel for anything Borderlands related, he is somehow sick and can't make it.
how convenient.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost like they don't want him to be the face of the company anymore. But he's kind of locked in somehow.
Well,
I feel like Rockstar is I think they're gonna do the thing. They know. I feel like,
it won't fail.
It's been so long. They
It
haven't
will
announced
not be. They will make money. That is a gift.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna make money.
I don't think I know a single person who's not going to buy that game, besides myself.
And their strategy is going to work. I think we mentioned this before. They're not releasing it on PC, probably just because where it's more optimization. And they've done it, in the past with GTA 5, Red Dead 2, Red Dead 1. I mean, definitely Red Dead 1. Red Dead 1 didn't come to PC until 15 years later. 13 years later? Yeah, you're talking about a long time.
Either way, it'll eventually come to PC, but they need to work out the bugs and the kinks and all that, and they're going to do that on console. where their
Right.
primary player base is.
I mean, yeah, easier to get a console. They'll get more people on console, but I think like what they did with like GTA 5, and Red Dead 2, they're gonna get the double dip, man. I'm gonna double dip. I mean, as long as the game's not like $200. As long as it's not $200, it probably will be like $200 though. I hope not. But I'll probably double dip.
Right now the rumor is 100.
100? Okay, I thought it was like 120.
Well, still just a rumor. Hopefully that's not a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
I mean, granted. Okay, I'm going to be the bad guy in this situation. I know I am, but hey. We as consumers have been enjoying games being at 70 for longer than consumers enjoyed games being at 50.
I hate that you pointed that out, but yes, you're right.
Wait, what?
So we as consumers have enjoyed video games being $70 longer than consumers enjoyed games being 50.
You mean $60, right? This hasn't been that long.
I can think back for like 10 years paying like $70 for a game.
It's only been, I'll say 4 years. The games only started becoming $70 when the PlayStation 5 and the Series X launched. That's when they started becoming.
And that was only like a few years ago, I think.
Yeah. Games were $50 when the PS3 dropped?
No, I know $60 was like the standard for like, God, even when I had a Super Nintendo back in the day, those cartridges were $60 brand new. And that price, as far as AAA games goes, never budged for the longest time. I remember $60 was like the standard price for a very, very long time. But the fact...
Go ahead.
But the fact that it stayed $60 for so many years and it never actually went up is kind of amazing in itself. Because you would have thought that would have kept up with inflation like everything else. And somehow they managed to keep making it. Now, maybe they were just making that much money, they were able to do it. Or, I don't know. I'm not really sure what
the cost to develop a game 15 years ago versus the cost to develop a game today, it's almost doubled.
Yeah, it's a different thing now.
Yeah. Then again, I mean, there are games that came out like 2012 that look better than they came out that games that there are games that came out in 2012 that look better than games that are coming out today.
Yeah,
depends on the developers. Seen that game Avowed? That's been a big topic of discussion here recently.
Yeah,
I've been playing Avowed. I mean, it's both good and bad. I mean, there's some things like, God, it's like
I've heard a lot of people say that it's good, but I've never heard anybody say that it's great.
It's not great. It's not great. It's pretty good, and it's playable and enjoyable. Like man, like some things like you see like comparison videos like of it and like Skyrim and other games that have like come out like and they do the same thing every time. Like when Cyberpunk launched, and then you're comparing it to like GTA 5, which was probably like what I think 10 years at the time. And, as games progress, they also take a step back in other areas.
Yeah.
Some like the small quality of life stuff. They take a step back. I still remember like Far Cry 2, man. Far Cry 2 is like, dude, if you set a fire just right, you could burn down the entire fucking map. That fire would rage and go for fucking ever, and it would not stop and just keep going. Now, like games, you throw a Molotov, it like lasts like 10 seconds, and then nope, that's it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget, and I mean, I'm not a game creator, so I don't really know how this works, but it just seems to be games that don't go super all out on like the graphics seem to have a lot more functionality with just the way things work in the game, because it's not so graphic heavy. Somehow that gives it more room to like do other stuff, which I guess is why like games like Skyrim, even though the graphics are not great, there's a ton of functionality within the items in the world. Like you can literally interact with every item, and it has like weight and physics to it, whereas like Avowed looks better than Skyrim, but doesn't necessarily play better.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, a lot of the older games, you can mod to have more up-to-date graphics if you play it on PC. You can do it on console, it just, there's a few more steps to it. Whereas, for PC, it's you click a button. Click a button,
PC's
turn
always
on.
going to have the advantage on that,
But yeah,
So
go ahead.
we were talking about game prices. Yeah, it was when the PS3 launched is when games started moving to $60.
Okay.
So through the PS3 era and the PS4 era, for I guess all games across the board, they were like $60. Yeah, and I think like during the PS2 era, they were like $50. I remember when the PS3 dropped, I was like, "Oh, games are going up. That's stupid."
You know what? Like, if there is a game, so I've hit a point now that if I am unsure about a game, I will wait for reviewers to get a hold of it, and I'll watch videos on it before I even consider purchasing it.
Absolutely.
I
That's
did
the way
that.
to do it.
Like, there are games that I will pre-order just because I know I'm buying that game regardless. Like, I pre-ordered Diablo 4. I pre-ordered the crap out of Diablo 4. I played the crap out of Diablo 4. I'm probably going to go back and play more Diablo 4 at some point in time. But as of right now, like, I'm being distracted by Path of Exile, which is everything Diablo 4. It's everything Diablo should have been from Diablo 2 on. Like, and the funny part is all of the quality of life you want in Diablo is in Path of Exile, and all the quality of life you want in Path of Exile is in Diablo. And you have to,
How about that?
Diablo is prettier, it's easier to play, and technically is more balanced. Where Path of Exile has 1,000 times the options, it has unlimited character design, it has the ability to buy whatever it is you're going to buy to support whatever it is you're going to do. It has an open trade market. It just is what it is. But that's all I've got for today. What you guys got?
About it, I guess.
I've lost my mouse. I'm going to make my mouse pink just so I can find it easier. So that's an option in Path of Exile is you can set the color of your icon. And if your icon is white or black or gray, and the whole game itself is white, black, and gray, it's stupid hard to find your mouse sometimes. So I turned it pink, and it's so much easier to find.
Well, I mean, whatever works, right?
But yeah, when you're trying to track your mouse across 3 monitors, that's just like, it's here somewhere.
Oh, 3 monitors. Okay, bud. Fancy.
I need to host this damn thing. Because I got our Discord there that has all our show notes. Watching things over here and trying to keep up with chat if we ever have a chat again. And, the streaming software is right here. And, yeah, it's fun. Anywho, thank you all for coming and watching. We hope you had a good time, and we will see you